Hi there, Honda owners. Today in your 2013 Honda Odyssey, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install eTrailer's Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver. You will be able to see the cross tube here at the bottom as well as the receiver, but unless you're kneeling down real far like we are here, you're really not going to notice the cross tube too much. The receiver is going to be pretty obvious there at the back, but it's tucked up under nicely, so it really doesn't detract from the looks of the vehicle. It's a Class 3 2-inch by 2-inch receiver, so it's going to be great for all of your towing needs, whether you're wanting to use it for accessories like bike racks and cargo carriers, or if you're wanting to get a little bit of work done and pull a trailer like a utility trailer, or maybe for recreational purposes like a jet ski trailer or some kayaks. All that should work out great in this hitch. You'll secure your accessories to the hitch using a 5/8 inch hitch pin and clip. Now, one doesn't come included with the hitch, but you can get plenty here at eTrailer, as well as locking ones to protect your investments. On bottom, it has plate-style safety chain loops with a moderate size opening. And we can see on our chain here, our bigger one here works fine, and the smaller one should have no issue as well. This hitch offers a 350-pound tongue weight, which is the force going down on top of the receiver. And that's going to be enough for a 4-bike platform rack, fully loaded up with 4 bikes. It's not going to be enough for the largest cargo carrier available here at eTrailer, but you should still be able to use a cargo carrier with it and get a couple 100 pounds out of your vehicle, freeing up some room for maybe an additional passenger or two. It also has a 3,500 pound gross towing capacity, which is how much that it can pull behind it. And with 3,500 pounds available, you should be able to pull like a John boat or small boats, jet ski trailers, kayak trailers should be no problem. Some pop-up campers that are on the smaller side should work as well. And utility trailer, if you need to like load up a lawnmower or something and help out a neighbor or a family member, you should be able to do that as well. This hitch also is rated for use with a weight distribution system, and when using a weight distribution system, it will increase both the tongue and gross towing capacity. The tongue weight will increase to 500 pounds, and the gross towing capacity will increase to 5,000 pounds. We've got a lot of different weight distribution systems available here at eTrailer, so you can pick the most appropriate one for your particular vehicle and trailer combination. A weight distribution system is designed to take some of the weight that's sagging down the back of your vehicle here and redistribute it onto the front axle to help level it out, restoring lost braking and handling performance and giving you just an overall better towing experience. Now, as always, I recommend that you verify in your vehicle's owner's manual and ensure you don't exceed any of its towing capacities. I've also got some measurements for you here to help you when deciding on accessories. From the center of our hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper here, we're right at about 5.5 inches. And this is important when determining if your accessory will contact the bumper when inserted into the receiver, and if it can be placed in the upright storage position without contacting the bumper. And from the ground to the top inside edge of our receiver tube, we're right at about 13.75 of an inch. And this measurement's important for determining if you need a drop, a rise, or a raise shank on your accessories. Now that we've covered some of the features of our hitch, why don't you follow along with us in the shop and we'll show you how to get it installed. This is a fairly easy hitch to install. I would recommend an extra set of hands, a buddy to come over and help you lift the hitch up, just because it is a little awkward since you do have to fish wire a few bolts through. But this is something you could probably do in your driveway with a buddy in about a half an hour to an hour. We'll begin our installation here on the driver's side. Now this first step here is going to be exclusive to if you have the little mud flaps here. If you don't have the mud flap like this, then you can just move on to the next step. But if you do have this, there's a fastener that we need that's behind this that we can't access until we get it out of the way. If you don't have them, then you can access the fastener right away. To remove it, we're gonna have a bolt here at the top we're gonna take out with a 10mm socket. So we'll just zip that guy out of there. And then we are gonna have a few screws that we have to take out here as well. All right, we got those out of the way. Now that we've got those removed, there's the fastener that's located behind it that was right there. We're gonna take that fastener out. So now that we're underneath, this is the panel here we'll need to remove. We've got 3 push pins we'll need to take out, and these push pins have a center pin and an outer pin. We need to pop out the center pin. So we're gonna start with a flat bladed screwdriver. I do recommend a trim panel tool though, so make sure you got one of those, but I found that these are easiest to start with a screwdriver, because with dirt and debris and stuff, these things get real brittle. It's very common for these fasteners to want to break. And the trim panel tool, the blade on it, it's a little bit bigger. It's hard to get behind the fastener. So we're just starting with the screwdriver just to pop it down just a little bit to make it easier for our trim panel tool to fit up in there. And I'm just kind of working my way around the fastener like this because it's a bit of an older vehicle. It's about almost 10 years old now. So all that dirt and debris that collects on there, not to mention just sitting out in the elements, makes these fasteners really brittle. So we got it popped down enough where we should be able to get the trim panel tool on it now. So we're going to switch over to that so we can put a more even pressure on it to try to get these removed without damaging them. If you do damage them though, we do have clip kits you can buy here at etrailer, so you can replace them. Once you get it popped out far enough, the whole pin comes out of there just like you saw. So now we're just going to repeat this for the remaining pins. And here on the other side of the panel towards the front of the vehicle, you have this cutout section. You need an extension and a 10mm socket to remove the bolt that's up located there at the top. Once we remove the bolt, our panel should pull out of there now. And we'll just set that aside for now. We can access the factory weld nuts that are located here in the bottom of the frame. Now, if your vehicle's not that old, or it's been fairly well garaged and stuff where it's not very dirty, you can probably just take some penetrant and spray it up in there and use a bristled brush to clean it out. But we're gonna use a tap because it's fairly rusted under here. It's a pretty old vehicle. The other side, when I checked it, was also very rusted. So we're gonna use a tap to clean these out. The size tap you would need, if yours are really bad, need to be tapped like this as well, is an M12 by 1.25. And when you're tapping, if it stops, like that's pretty stiff right there, we want to back it off. You don't want to break your tap off inside the frame. Back it off a little bit. Maybe grab some more penetrant, spray it up in there, and then go forward again. There we go. It's a little stiff, but we were able to get by it without it being too stiff there. All right, it's getting pretty stiff again, so back it off. And go back forward. Sometimes you need to spray, sometimes just backing it off and going forward is enough. All right, and once you get all the way through, it's gonna be nice and easy. It's loosened up for us, so we know we've got it all cleaned out. Now we're just gonna go back and perform that again on the other weld nut here in the bottom of the frame. And then we'll head over to the other side of the vehicle and do the same, two over there in the same location. We can access those already. There is no undershield that you need to remove to get to those. Next thing we're gonna do is take our coiled wire. We have one bolt we need to feed in. On the driver's side, the hole that we just cleaned out, the two there, you'll wanna go towards the front of the vehicle. You'll see a hole there. You'll want to skip that first hole that's only about an inch away from the threaded hole and go to this next small hole. That's the hole that we want to feed our bolt out of. So we're going to take the coiled end here, we're going to push this up into that hole and bring it out this hole. So what I'm going to do to help make it easier, I'm also going to put a couple of small bends there so that way when I poke it in, it's going to naturally kind of direct it towards that hole. And then we can pull it out the hole there. I also usually put a little hook on the other end, and that keeps my wire from being able to fall through the other direction. We'll now take the spacer that comes included in our kit, go ahead and slide that up and into the frame. Next we'll take the carriage bolt that comes in our kit and thread this onto the coiled end. This will also push up into the frame, and then we can pull that down through the hole. At this point, we're going to grab ourselves an extra set of hands now to help us lift our hitch into position. It's a bit difficult to do it as one person since you have to feed these through the open holes without pushing this bolt back up into the frame. So now we got our extra set of hands. We're going to start by lifting it up on the passenger side first, going up over the exhaust. Then we can lift up the driver's side and take the coiled wire, and we're going to feed that through the hole that's towards the front of the vehicle. After we get it fed through there, we'll just lift it up into position, lining it up with the holes in the bottom of the frame. Take one of our bolts, make sure you place a conical tooth washer on it with the teeth facing towards the hitch, and thread it in place. Once you get one started on each side, the hitch will hold itself up, making it easier to install the rest of your hardware. And here you can see the bolt and washer combination. There's the teeth side away from the head of the bolt, so it's towards the hitch. Now for the bolt that we fed down through the frame, you can go ahead and remove your fish wire. So you can either thread it off there or you can just pull it. I like to thread them off so I can reuse it. They can be useful for other projects. And then we'll thread this on there. Now when you thread this on, you want to be careful. We don't want to push the bolt back up into the frame, so don't push up too high. Just be gentle with it. Get it to start on there and then thread it up. We can then go back and we'll tighten down our hardware. We're going to use an 18mm socket for our small nut and a 19mm socket for the bolts that thread it into the weld nuts. If you're having a difficult time getting this started, you can stick your finger up in here to kind of grab it a little bit. Once you've got all your hardware snugged down, you can go back and torque it to the specifications outlined in your instructions. We're not going to put our side panel up, but we are going to cut out just a small little section of just this side piece here, just to allow it to clear the hitch. And we're just using some snips to cut this out. Just run it right along the edge there. And that should be enough. There's a small chance we might need to trim off a little bit more up here, but let's just see how it fits. Oh, it seems to clear very nicely around our panel, so we can now reinstall all the fasteners that hold this on. And then lastly, if your vehicle was equipped with a mud flap, you can go ahead and reinstall that. And just for you guys out there, if you ran into the same situation as me, I was able to install that fastener on the outside of the mud flap instead of behind it like it was before. And that completes our installation of eTrailer's Class 3 trailer hitch receiver on our 2013 Honda Odyssey.